Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to dive into the monster manual and look at two excellent dungeon creatures, or they could be in caverns, but these both are underground. One is the Lurker above. One of my favorite monsters, actually. I love these guys. And you can put them into a group, maybe up to, they'll be a challenge from about 4th level, a real challenge at 4th level, and even into 8th and 9th level, a Lurker is going to be a challenging encounter. Lurker above, they're uncommon, 1 or 1 to 4 appearing, AC 6, 10 hit dice. They get 1 attack for 1 to 6 damage, and you see their special attack below. They have no intelligence, they're not intelligent, and they're 20-foot wing spread. So basically, the Lurker above is a carnivorous creature found only in subterranean places. If the chamber or cave is large, well, there might be as many as 4 of them, but normally only 1 is encountered. A Lurker can creep along surfaces, but slowly, 1 inch, or by using the gas which it generates and excretes into sacs about its body. This gives the Lurker above a neutral buoyancy, and then it flaps its wing-like appendages and flies about. They surprise prey on a 1 to 4 and a 6-sider. When disturbed, the Lurker drops from the ceiling, smothering all creatures beneath its tough folds of its wings. This constriction causes 1 to 6 points of damage, and the victims will smother in 2 to 5 rounds in any event, unless they kill the Lurker and break free. Unintelligent, the Lurker will fight until dead. Prey caught in its grip cannot fight unless the weapons used are both short and in hand at the time the creature falls on them. And then its description is, this terrible beast somewhat resembles a large manta ray. Its grayish belly is so textured as to appear to be stone, and the Lurker typically attaches itself to a ceiling where it's almost impossible to detect unless actually prodded. 90% chance you won't detect it. So Lurker above, I like this guy a lot. You walk into the old dungeon room, everything seems fine, and suddenly the portion of the ceiling drops on you, and you're enveloped in this creature in its 20-foot wingspan. It's possible to get more than one target. They show just one guy getting caught, but with a 20-foot wingspan, you can get 3 or 4 under there. We have played it that once the Lurker is on you, you get 1 die 6 damage per round that you're under it. You can only fight if you have something small and it was in hand. So for instance, a dagger. We don't allow a short sword. It has to be a dagger, and it has to have been in hand. You can't draw it. So suddenly the Lurker is on you. You were lucky enough to have had a dagger in hand. You can now fight it for 1 to 4 points of damage, plus whatever bonuses you may or may not have for magical dagger, whatever. Now the interesting thing is the Lurker has 10 hit dice, 10 8-siders, so it's going to be generating somewhere around 45, 50 hit points. But it's only armor class 6, so the armor class is easy to penetrate. That's why these can be good at encounters, maybe even as low as 4th level. I would only hit a larger party or somehow more formidable 4th level party with one of these guys, and I have used them up to 8th, 9th, 10th level to good effect, to just take some cheap damage off the party and definitely keep them on their toes. Using 1 to 4 in an area is really good. If it's a very large cavern, they think the encounter is over because they've defeated the one Lurker. They start walking again, and another one drops on them. That makes them really paranoid. So it's a great creature for that. So I have used Lurkers for many, many years. I love them, and I will continue to use them. My players know I like them, to the point that sometimes they go in and they'll fire the occasional random arrow at the ceiling to see if there's a Lurker up there. I rarely allow that to do anything. Now, the other side of the coin, if you will, of our Lurker above is a Trapper. And given that D&D started in the 70s, MASH was on, and one of the characters in MASH, granted by the time this book was published, he was already gone from the series, was Trapper John M.D. So very often, Trapper, the Trapper monster in D&D, at our table at least, was called Trapper John. So Trapper John, a character from MASH, number of them appearing is 1, armor class 3, more formidable, 12 hit dice, number of attacks 4+, and see it below for attack and damage, and they are highly intelligent, and they are large. Trappers are clever monsters found only in caves and caverns. They prefer subterranean habitation to all others. They shape their flat bodies to conform to the floor surface of their abode. Being of consistency almost as hard as stone, that's why the armor class is 3, trappers are nearly impossible to detect by normal means. 95% chance you'll miss them. Usually a trapper will wait until its prey is near its center, which it often creates a protuberance, which resembles a chest or box, and then suddenly closes itself upon the unsuspecting victims. The Trapper then crushes them, doing a base damage of 4 plus the armor class of the victim. Now, I only allow it if the armor class of the victim is 0 or lower. It's 4. But if it's the creature has armor class 4, it's 4 plus 4, so it's 8 points of damage. That's formidable. Those entrapped are unable to use weapons, so even if you've got the dagger in hand against this guy, you can't use it. The great musculature of the trapper prevents your using the weapon. Prey will be smothered in 6 melee rounds regardless of damage sustained. It must be killed or faced with certain death to make it free its prey. Its treasure is kept beneath it. Trappers are resistant to fire and cold for half or no damage. So that's pretty good. So it would be half with a failed saving throw and no damage with a saving throw, for instance, a fireball. Trappers are amorphous in form, so they're able to shape themselves to the form of the floors and the places they choose to await prey. Typical trapper is able to cover an area up to 400 square feet. And giant specimens can cover as much as 600 square feet. The trapper also has the advantage of being able to alter its coloration to blend in with the color of the ground, the floor or ground upon which it rests. So there we have it, a trapper. Trappers and lurkers, very, very similar. Dissimilar enough where the trapper is intelligent. It doesn't say how it communicates, but you could certainly menace it with edged weapons or whatever to try to get it to give up its prey. I've never had players try that. I've always had them just attack the thing and try to free their prey. Trappers are a lot of fun, and the reason I put them in with lurkers above is, let's face it, they're very similar encounters. Once, years ago, in an old Walpurgis game, Walpurgis, for anybody who may not know it, that's a once yearly Halloween game I do, where I try to find the most outrageous combos for things to destroy the players. We play, they pick characters, I set a level, they pick characters, and then for the course of that game, my job is to kill the character before the end of the game, and it's all for fun. It doesn't count against anything if I kill the character, but if they survive, they get bragging rights. I've been doing Walpurgis off and on for 40 plus years, and all that time I've only had 4 players survive, and that's only because I ran out of time. We played a 4-hour game at our old club. I had 24 players at my table that night, the largest group I've ever done, and I just ran out of time to kill the last 4. So I've only had 4 players survive Walpurgis, but this was one of my encounters. I did a trapper with a lurker above, and they made a sandwich. I got a lot of players with that one. And I know there's an argument that says, well, the trapper would be damaging the lurker and the lurker would be squeezing the trapper. And yes, you're right, but it's Walpurgis. So I did it as a fun encounter, and I killed 1 or 2 players with that encounter, and it was a lot of fun. I've also used trappers similar to how I've done lurkers above. You'll have a trapper in a room. The players will fight the encounter. They'll get out of the encounter. Whew, that was tough. They'll go to the next room, and they'll find its mate. So you have 2 trappers in adjacent rooms, and maybe even baby trappers in a smaller area. So it's something you can repeat, and the players will get really irritated with you, but they'll become very cautious in your dungeon at that point. Trapper, I usually use as a higher level encounter. Lowest I'd ever throw these at players would be about 6th level, and absolutely up through about 10th or 11th. These are still going to be a formidable challenge because you're going to be taking the combat away from the players, and you're going to be causing all kinds of trouble. Now, can you teleport out of a trapper? Yes, I allow it. Dimension door also, I allow it. Verbal components, you're just leaving the area. You're being crushed, or even if you're being air quote smothered unquote, you still have some air with you. If you can just conjure the spell into your mind, say it. I do allow people to teleport or dimension door out from being trapped by a trapper or a lurker. So just the way I rule it at my table. Not saying everybody would do it that way. I'm just saying at my table. So there you have it. Lurker above and a trapper. 2 sides of the same coin, and they make a great sandwich when you put the 2 together. That's all I've got today from page 121. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.